You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
When I sold that company, they was calling me a sellout Uncle Tom, the white man gonna take it and make way more money. I was like, ain't that the point? If somebody gives you millions of dollars for something, aren't they supposed to take it and make more money off of it?
Yeah, that's why they bought it for.
If I carry a business, I also carry the risk. We think Mark Zuckerberg owns Facebook. He owns a percentage of it. The shares are publicly traded. That was his exit. I'm gonna sell 40% of the company. I'm gonna make sure this money is safe. I'm gonna keep some of the stock and I can keep some of the company. Tech saved my life and it changed my life.
All right, listen, y'all. We've all been seeing everything that's been happening on social media. We've been seeing people talk about crypto, Web3. We've seen people talk about blockchain, NFTs, AI, robotics, semiconductors, superconductors. The list has been going on and on with a variety of different people talking about these conversations. And many of the people are just content creators that have either never worked in tech, have never had a tech business, or they're really not even experts to speak on these topics. Now listen, I believe these topics are important and should be discussed no matter who's talking about it. At least it's putting our eyeballs on these really important topics. Nevertheless, the guest that we have today is somebody that I believe is an expert to talk on all of these topics. We never had someone that I believe is as poised and well positioned, whether we're talking tech, we're talking about being a tech founder, being a founder that's exited companies, being someone that's a thought leader when it comes to Web 3.0, crypto, blockchain, all of these different topics. We have that guest on here today that I'm incredibly excited about. This man has been making waves in various industries for multiple years. So we are very excited to have them on here for our 100,000 subscriber anniversary month where tech is the new black. Now, as always, though, we got to put some respect on his name, read off his amazing bio, so that way you all can become familiar, if you're not familiar already, with who our guest Armando is today. So Armando is a TEDx speaker and a 15-year veteran in the financial technology industry. Armando has successfully led technology growth and innovation at some of the world's largest companies, including Home Depot and AAA. In 2016, Armando transitioned from his software engineering leadership role at AAA to the emerging tech world when he started ICO Ranker, an AI-driven web application that allowed investors to easily access new crypto projects. After a multi-million-dollar buyout with a publicly traded company, I'm butchering this bio. This is bad.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna start over. Never had to start over a bio before. All right. So Armando is a TEDx speaker and a 15-year veteran in the financial technology industry. Armando has successfully led technology growth and innovation at some of the world's largest companies, including Home Depot and AAA. In 2016, he transitioned from his software engineering leadership role at AAA to the emerging tech world when he created ICO Ranker, or ICO Ranker, an AI-driven web application that allowed investors to easily assess new crypto projects. After a multi-million-dollar buyout by a publicly traded company, Armando has become a respected thought leader in the cryptocurrency space and known worldwide as a disciplined, focused, and influential emerging technology, financial, and tech innovator. In 2017, he chose to sell his company to Codebase Ventures, a publicly traded company, for $2.5 million. And as we were talking about behind the scenes, it's going to be a little bit more than that too. Continuing on, this choice made him a millionaire and gave him the foundation and funds to start Quant Index, a company focused on investing and developing emerging tech. In 2020, Armando was awarded the IBM Blockchain Award for his innovations on using blockchain to crowdsource COVID-19 solutions. In 2022, along with Kevin O'Leary, known on Shark Tank, Armando was added to the Benzinga Advisory Council for Blockchain and Cryptocurrency. I mean, y'all see what we're working with today. It's an incredible, incredible episode. Make sure you buckle your seats. Make sure you got your notepads out, that you're listening, paying attention, because this conversation we're going to have is something that you're going to look back years from now and be like, man, they talked about it on Tech is the New Black. Armando, thank you so much, man, for being here on the show.
I appreciate you, man. And also congratulations on the 100,000 subscribers.
Man, thank you so much, dude, bro. Man, I really appreciate you.
Big.
You know, I didn't even think about this, and I was like, I didn't even plan on sharing this, but I'm going to go ahead and share this right now. One of the things, there's a lot of things I appreciate about you, like a variety of things. But one of the things I appreciate about you early on when I first got in tech and I was looking at all the different things that were happening, I was like, man, we got to talk about these topics. And I started talking about stuff, talking about a variety of different things, and people would come to me and be like, man, Cyrus, how come no one is talking about these different topics? And then I remember looking up and seeing you on social media, and I said, oh, this dude ain't just talking about it. Like, this dude is talking about stuff I'm not even talking about. This guy's really on top of these topics. And so, bro, I appreciate not just, you being just successful in your own right, but you constantly dropping gems, nuggets, information that's like really impacting and benefiting the people.
Yeah, because it's very important. Like a lot of these things we talk about, Web3, blockchain, AI, these like to the average person, it sounds like pie in the sky stuff. Like, oh, it's just, that's just something they messing with, whatever. These things are going to dominate our world in 5 to 10 years, dominate our careers, dominate our home life, dominate society, dominate even things like police work and politics. Mm-hmm. They're going to integrate, they're going to infiltrate all of that. Yeah. So whoever the people that understand it early on are going to dominate that space. Yeah. And the same thing, if you look back at certain industries, like even with software engineering, right, is that people of color are now, and it's very exciting. At the same time, they're coming into it now. Mm-hmm. Like I spent most of my career, 15-year software engineer career, and I may have ran into 2 people in the African Americans or maybe Hispanics, maybe 3 or 4 Hispanics or African Americans total in my entire career that worked alongside me. That's how bad. And when I was in grad school, I was the only black dude that was in the entire class, and it was like maybe about 40% Indian, maybe about 60% white, and me. And there was 140 people in that class.
That's insane.
And this is back in 2010. So it's changed a lot in the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. It's exciting. And it's very important that we as a people get involved in these technologies early. Yeah. Because that's who's going to be the CEOs, the leaders, the thought leaders 10 years from now.
Yeah. No, okay. That's really important. And it makes a lot of sense why you touch on these topics. So I was saying earlier how we see a lot of different people that are talking about having these conversations. Like you just touched on, some people think, okay, maybe there's just some pie in the sky stuff. It's not that serious. How serious or how important would you say that it is that even the general person should like kind of really maybe like do some research or really pay attention to these conversations?
What's going to happen in the future is that you go 5-10 years from now, just like with simple technology, let's go back to the 90s, early 2000s, right? Yeah. Let's go down that period. So in that period, the internet was just starting, but typing has already been out 20 years. If you couldn't type, you couldn't get a job starting in the early 2000s.
Oh,
there was no such thing as like, you go back to the 80s, it was actually listed on like a job, people that, job requests.
Yeah.
Like you got to type, you may not remember, you got to type 135 words a minute for this job. You have to type 70 words a minute for this job. They took that off. Because now it's expected.
Yeah. That's crazy. I remember because I'm a little bit younger than you, but I'm old enough to remember when I first started like applying to certain jobs where it would say, you have to be able to type this many WPM or words per minute.
That's gone.
And he's like, I haven't seen that at all.
Because if you can't type, you can't have the job. That's expected now. It's not like they don't even talk about word spinning no more because most people type 70, 80 now. That's the baseline.
Yeah.
So that's what it's going to be in the future is AI stuff. Like right now they're listening. You got to know ChatGPT or whatever. Yeah. But give it 5 or 10 years, that's going to be expected, like the typing. Ooh. If you don't have it, you just can't have the job. And all jobs will expect it.
That's true. It's especially because it is something that is not now, but very soon will be like integrated in every single type of career.
Go back to secretaries typed before, and people are in kind of like administrative type, like career path.
Yeah.
But now every single job you have to know how to type. There's no job. You can work in a warehouse. You could be a UPS driver. They're making a lot of money now, but you still got to know how to type because you have to type your reports and stuff at the end of the day.
Yeah.
This is how these new technologies, Web3, blockchain, AI are going to be 5 to 10 years from now.
Man, that's incredible. Look, let me know what y'all think in the comments about that. Let me know, like, what are y'all doing? So even if it's outside of you working a job in tech, let me know, do you care about these things? Do you hear this and you're like, okay, I need to go ahead and learn about some of these things to make sure I'm on top of it? Or do you disagree? Again, we're gonna dive deeper into this conversation. But let us know, do you feel that this is something that you should pay attention to? Or are you like, I don't think it's that serious. I think that they're just kind of blowing this up. And so we definitely want to hear from y'all. But look, man, there's a lot about your career that we're gonna talk about, touch on as much as we can, as much as we could try to cover in this conversation. But one of the things I want to talk about is like, who is Armando? Like where did you grow up at? Where are you from? What was life like growing up that eventually led you even to wanting to get in tech and be the person that you are?
So I grew up in Tennessee, not far from, we're in Atlanta now, about 4.5 hours north in a place called Clarksville, Tennessee.
Okay, yeah.
So I grew up there. My father left when I was 3, so we kind of were kind of in sort of poverty for a lot of my life. So the first time I ever got into tech is that I was in elementary school, and even the school didn't have computers yet. So I was maybe about 7, 8, maybe 9 years old. And in the library, they had these books. They were like American Boy's Life or something. Mm-hmm. But in that book, if you go to like a certain page, there were these basic. It would tell you how to like type these basic programs into your computer, and then that would like create these games. Mm-hmm. So it was basic instructions, maybe 3 pages of it. Mm-hmm. You would type these instructions in, and then it would create a program on your computer. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have a computer. But I would look at these basic instructions, the if statements, the loops and all this stuff. Yeah. And it would just like fascinate me. Mm-hmm. And I would just like copy them down and like make pseudocode and like try to change it around to what I would think. But I would never actually have a computer. So I did this for years.
You were like playing with code without a computer. Yeah. That's crazy.
So, but the if statements, all that stuff just like fascinated me. Yeah. The loops and how, I would just put think about the data in my head and stuff like that. Yeah. But I never had a computer. So I didn't have a computer until I was like 18 or 19. But I got lucky because I remember I was about 13 or 14. My mom used to love to go to yard sales, right? Mm-hmm. So she was, I was supposed to, for ninth grade for, I think it was algebra or something, I was supposed to get a TI-86 calculator, Texas Instrument. Okay. TI-86. And my mom didn't know the difference. So she was at a yard sale and she found this TI-85 calculator. And she bought it for me and gave it to me. I found it, way cheaper than what, we go to the store and bought it. But that wasn't the right one for the class. But the thing about the TI-85, the TI-86 was like locked down, so you couldn't do nothing with it. TI-85 had an open back end where you could write code.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
So I got that. It was like a C-based language. It was like kind of like a stripped down C-based language. And you could write if statements. You could write code. You could take inputs. You could do whatever you wanted. So, and after, I've been looking at that for a few years, I started like typing code in this calculator. Yeah. I made games. I made a bunch of stuff. Like I can go on, you could go on the internet, then you could download these instructions. You could put like Tetris in there and all this stuff. Yeah. And it just amazed me, man. So, and then, So I did that for years. And, the school had computers and stuff. I never had a computer at home until I was like 19 or 20. So I got into college, and my mom was a janitor at the college at Austin Peay State University, where I went to school. So I got half price tuition, and that along with the Pell Grant. So I was like making money going to school. The Pell Grant covered everything, but then I got half tuition.
Yeah.
So
that's fire.
So I went there the first year. I went pre-med because that's what mom wanted me to do. But after, so I had to take a class in computer science, because that was like everybody had to take that. So when I took that, man, it was just everything changed for me then. I was like at 18, 19 years old. And that class, man, like I had a 1.8 when I graduated high school. I was a horrible high school student because nothing really interested me. Like I thought high school, I felt like high school was like everybody graduates high school, so why am I even going to try? Like I just didn't feel like,
true. Yeah,
I didn't feel like it was like nothing extraordinary.
Yeah. So
I just didn't really try. But when I got into college and I saw that the teacher part is computer science stuff, code and C+ and Java and all this stuff, C++ and Java. And man, it just like, it changed everything, man. Like I finally found a place that I felt like I belonged.
Yeah.
And then from there on, just, and like I had straight A's in there. The first time I ever had relationships with professors was computer science professors. Like I would go and talk to them, laugh at them. We were like a family. That's the first time. I was always kind of like intimidated by teachers and professors up to that point. And then it just changed. It changed my entire life. Tech changed me, and I'm almost about to like shed a tear, man.
Yo, that's fine, bro.
Tech saved my life, and it changed my life.
Yeah, I mean, but you're changing people's lives and saving people's lives through tech. So it's like kind of like a full circle thing.
Yeah, it is. That's why I'm so passionate about it, because I know the power of tech to change people.
Yeah. So hearing that, and that's such a phenomenal story. When I hear that, one of the things I've noticed, we've had a few guests. I've noticed like, man, some of the most like, I guess, rock star guests we've had that careers have really like taken off, and they've just done some phenomenal things. One of the common threads that I've heard, and I mean, Eric could probably maybe agree with this as well, is that many of them, when they were very young, they were interested in tech and technology. Whether their parents intentionally, very few, but a couple of their parents intentionally were like, no, look into this stuff. But many times it was something like your story where it was kind of accidental. And one of the things that's got me thinking about is like, man, you know what? And I definitely want your thoughts on this. Like, what do you think about parents, like, right? Because a lot of parents like put their kids in football. They're like, oh, I'm gonna get my kid in football so that way they could be a football, or they'll get them in boxing or karate or something. And many times it's because they're hoping that eventually their child could be that 0.001% that makes it. But one of the things I think about is like, yo, hearing your story, it's like, man, what if parents put their children in some type of tech program while their minds are still sponges and they're curious? And it's like, instead of it being a 0.001% chance of them making it, it's like, I ain't gonna say guaranteed, but it's like close to guaranteed of them being successful.
So I actually got a good insight into that. Like, I also played basketball a lot. I'm tall,
Yeah.
And I played overseas. For a year and a half.
I actually saw it on there. Yeah.
But I tried to make the NBA. That was my goal. That was my that was my dream. Like, I loved computer science. So my ultimate dream until I was like in high school was like, man, I want to go to the NBA. I want to go to the NBA.
Yeah.
Man, it's hard to make the NBA. People are ridiculously athletic, ridiculously tall.
Yeah.
And even when I went overseas, like, I wasn't nowhere near one of the better players. I was like maybe like ranked out of 13 players, 12 players, I was ranking like 7 or 8.
And even overseas.
Overseas, right? It was a lot easier to make it in tech. It was a lot easier to become a multi-millionaire, quote unquote, star in this world than it was in basketball.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming football and other sports are the same way.
Yeah.
Is that it's a lot easier to go this path. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot easier to be a star on this path.
Yeah.
So I would encourage people, especially kids, is that, and there was a report too that came out that said that the average software engineer over their lifetime makes more than the average NBA player.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then the majority of those athletes go bankrupt.
Exactly.
And their career only lasts for very short careers. I have, and I'm sure you probably experienced this as well, especially one with your background, your network, everything you've done. I have probably about 3 or 4 different athletes that are either currently they're like at the end of their career, or they stopped playing a couple years ago, that have been in my inbox saying, yo man, like, how do I get this whole tech career type of thing? And so it's definitely a career path that at the least is something for people to fall back on, but definitely something that I think parents should have their children look at adjacently to the other things that they're into.
And like it's unlike any other career is that, and this is what I love about tech is that we talk a lot about intellectual property and stuff like that and how that creates a lot of wealth. Well, tech is the same thing. Is that I can make something one time. I can have one brilliant idea, just one, make it once, and make millions of dollars off this idea over years. One idea, and like it's no other field that's like that. Like you have to continuously produce.
That's true.
Right in tech, I could just make one bright idea. Yeah, and it just grows into something, that's phenomenal and makes me a multi-millionaire.
Yo, I'm happy you brought that up because that leads perfect into the next question. Now, this one gonna ruffle a few feathers, but it's important to have this conversation. This is gonna be very educational for some people. So, in 2017, you sold your company, Ico Ranker, for $2.5 million. Oftentimes, the general public gets upset when they hear a man or woman of color sells their successful business. But want to know from you, like, first, why did you sell it? But also, why is it a common theme that people are selling their businesses instead of just passing it down to their children?
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you this: when I sold that company, man, my inbox was like, it was a lot of people that was happy and congratulating me. Yeah, but about 30% of those was like calling me a sellout, Uncle Tom. They were saying things like the white man gonna take it and make way more money than I did. Yeah. And then the thing about me, it was confusing to me because I was like, ain't that the point? If somebody gives you millions of dollars for something, aren't they supposed to take it and make more money off of it?
Yeah, that's why they bought it for.
That's why they bought it. I hope he does. So he's like, like if I buy like a stock, I expect it to go up. That's why I'm buying it. That's the same thing as the company. If he made 10, 20 million, I don't care what he makes because I made what I made. Yeah. Right. And we kept stocking the company too. So if it would have blew up, we would have made a bunch of money anyway. Yeah. But the thing about it is that we built that company. I had a business partner too. We built it with the intention to sell it. Yeah. When I started, I said I'm going to build this in a way that I can easily sell it to somebody else. So we kept the books clean. We kept the code clean. That's good. We made sure that we kept the revenue high. That's why a lot of times I tell people, like, it goes around online. Write your car off on your company or take vacations. Yeah. Then the profit's low. You won't make a lot of money in the sale.
That's true.
So we didn't do none of that. We kept the revenue and the profit high over a year. So that we it's a multiple when you buy a company from you. Yeah. It's based on revenue per month or per year or profit per month or per year. If you cut it down due to all these expenditures, the multiple is a lot lower, and you make a lot less money on the sale. You could lose millions of dollars because you bought like a Range Rover. Yeah, millions of dollars on the sale.
Man, that's crazy.
So we built it with that intention, and then when somebody bought it, we could just handed it over to them. That was the whole point, right? So and the reason why is because in anything you do, it don't matter whatever business you start, you need to start it with that mindset. Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you why is because even if you don't sell it, there's only 3 ways out of a business, right? You sell it, you give it to somebody, or it fails. There's no other way to get nothing else that can happen to a business.
That's true.
So and one time I remember a woman called me when I first started this Instagram stuff. A woman said, "Can I call you? I want to talk to you about something." I said, "Yeah." So she was talking about how her parents gave her a liquor store. Okay. And she was crying on the phone saying a liquor store was negative profit. She works 15 hours a day and she just wants to get rid of it. Wow. So I'm saying her parents gave her a bad business. That's not a business. That's a burden. Yeah. Right? So if her parents would have built it in a way to sell early on, and they didn't sell it, they gave it to her, it would have been profitable, would have been clean, and everything would have been done correctly. So she would have took a profitable business. You see, because they didn't think about all that. When they handed it over to somebody else, it's not a business no more. It's a burden. That's true. No matter whatever you start, whenever you start a business, you should build it to sell, even if you have no intentions to sell it. Yeah. Because everything's clean.
That's true. Man, that's so solid. That's so solid to hear that. I didn't realize until after getting into this industry, because obviously it's usually a lot of people that look like us. Many times it's Black and brown community that are very, like you mentioned, like they'll hear, "Oh man, he sold that company. Oh, he's a sellout. I would have done this. I would have done that." And it's usually people that aren't in a position to even do that. But what I've noticed, like many times we get flack for it, what I've noticed is that I got in this industry, I said, white people do this all the time. It's just, we're not aware. We're not paying attention.
That's what an IPO is.
Yeah.
Is that if I have first of all, you got to remember, if I carry a business, I also carry the risk.
Yeah.
The entire risk of that business.
All of it.
So what most businesses do is we think Mark Zuckerberg owns Facebook. He owns a percentage of it. The public, the shares are publicly traded. That was his exit.
Yeah.
I'm going to sell 40% of the company. I'm going to make sure this money is safe.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep some of the stock, and I could keep some of the company.
Yeah.
He exited.
Yeah,
that's what
true.
he did, right? He don't own all of it. And a lot of times, people like Jeff Bezos, he sold the majority of it.
Yeah, he doesn't even own the majority of Amazon. That's true.
He got rid of all it because he had to get rid of the risk.
Yeah.
You can't carry that risk year over year over year. Eventually, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
That just shows the level of ignorance that we have around business, because why would you intentionally want to work and hold on to all of their risk your entire life as opposed to building something that has value and selling it at the end? It just don't make sense.
You exit it, and like they say, a lot of times these multiples, when you get them there, even Amazon stock and Facebook stock, the price valuation is based on multiple years of revenue, right? So you're getting it all up front. You're getting 10 years of revenue right now. You know what you can do with that? You can invest it. You can get a return on it. You can put it in different investment vehicles and make a passive income. There's a lot of things you can do with that if you get it now. And it's a concept called opportunity cost of money. Is that if I wait for the money over a longer period of time, I'm losing opportunity. Ooh. As opposed to when I get it today, I can do a lot of things with it that I couldn't do with money over 10 years.
It's like the lottery. When people, so you hear people talking about they'll take the payment over time. That's stupid to take the payment over time.
Yeah.
You take the lump sum and you would do more with that lump sum.
You can do more with the lump sum in most cases. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that's fire. Oh, man. Look, let us know what y'all think about this in the comments. I mean, he just dropped some major gems. How familiar were y'all when it comes to the pieces that he just mentioned? And also, how do you feel about it? After hearing this, do you still disagree? Would you sell your business, or are you of the type that would say, no, I'm going to stay with a business all my life, pass it down to my children, to my generations? Or instead, would you sell a business, leverage that money how he has to put it into other opportunities as well, and then be able to expand that even further? We definitely want to hear from y'all.
I want to touch on one more thing, is that when we sold it, that we got 2.5 cash. Yeah. But we also got way more in stock. The stock was in the parent company that bought it.
Oh my god!
So we still, in a way, owned it. Even today, we haven't sold all of that. So that's what I'm saying, is that we still own a part of that that company that bought our technology. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, is that we didn't really sell out 100%. Yeah. We still have some stake in whatever they do in the future.
That's fire. That's such a gem. That's such a gem, because not only can you sell it, get that money, remove all of the risk from being on your shoulders, but now, depending on what they do with the business as it scales, you still have a part ownership to where you're able to passively collect money after. Bro, that's low key a play that a lot of people missing out on.
Risk is very important, man, and like financial decisions, is that, and any kind of business decisions, risk is always a factor. And most people just kind of disregard risk. It's not even it's always there, and you always got to constantly manage it and balance it out in your life. Yeah. You can't, if you carry all the risk here, you got to do something else to balance out that much risk. Yeah. You have to sell, and that's what rich people do all the time. Yeah. The IPO exits, the selling the companies, all this stuff is the banks do it constantly. Man. Banks look over their books every month and start rebalancing risk all around their portfolios.
That's true. Hey, so listen, y'all, we need to talk about Pivot Tech Bootcamp. Pivot Tech is a virtual bootcamp that guarantees job placement. Yes, y'all heard that correct. They guarantee job placement. Now, they have a variety of different courses, including what the guest is talking about that you're listening to right now. But outside of those courses, they also assist with different forms of mentorship and other forms of education. Not only do they provide mentorship and career placement, but we've partnered with them, and they're allowing our audience up to $300 off with our discount link, Tech is the New Black. So again, that's hashtag Tech is the New Black to get up to $300 off their courses. Now again, y'all, they're worth checking out. They guarantee career placement. But when you do their boot camp, make sure to keep us posted on your journey breaking into tech. Man, bro, you dropping some fire right now. Some fire. So look, we've spoken to a lot of guests who have discussed Web 3.0 with our audiences, but we've never touched on blockchain. Simply put, what?
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Is blockchain, and why should the general listener care about it?
So blockchain is a new way of storing transactions. Now we're familiar with it through cryptocurrency, right?
Yeah.
So if I send you a Bitcoin, where does that transaction get stored? Like traditionally, it's in a database somewhere, a bank's database. They said Armando sent Cyrus $1 or whatever. It stores one, so it subtracts one from me and adds one to you. And now we know that the dollar has been exchanged.
Yeah.
Well, blockchain is a different way of doing that. Right now, it's centralized, so it's in one place. The bank has it. Decentralized means it's across many computers all over the world. Right? So blockchain is a new way of storing these transactions and these balances in a way that can't be changed, can't be altered, and there's no central authority that has complete control over it like a bank. So that gives extreme power because it takes the power away from these banks and these big organizations and distributes it among the people. So it's a new way of storing this stuff, and it's not just for me sending you $1 or sending you a Bitcoin. A lot of data can be stored like this. NFTs are stored on the blockchain. Different other data points, different titles, hopefully car titles and car deeds and everything can be stored on the blockchain.
Yeah.
And the power of that is that the blockchain can never be altered or changed, and it's always there because it's stored on on many different computers. And the only way that the blockchain can go forward is that the data has to be the same across all these computers.
Okay.
So because it's duplicated so many places, it can never be lost. Because let's say 90% of them go down, well, 10% still have the data. Let's say all of them go down except for one. That one still has the data. Because it's distributed all over the world, there's no way there's no way to lose the data. And there's nobody can go in and alter it, because if you alter one computer, well, the other ones don't match up. So it's been out for about 13 years. But technology-wise, it's very, very new. Technology takes 20, 25 years to integrate into society. People don't realize that.
Wow.
The average technology does.
Do you think that that's something that will, I guess, speed up?
It has sped up over time. I think the telephone took like 50 years from invention to where it was like in 75% of houses.
Dang.
It has sped up. But even the internet took like 20 years. Digital cameras took 30 years. And the most recent one really was cell phones. So cell phones took about 25 years from invention to when they actually 75% of people had them. So it takes a long time, man.
When I hear everything you broke down when it comes to blockchain, I actually think about, because I'm still considered new money.
Yeah.
I got into tech 2 years ago, October 4th. It's currently right now at the time of this recording, it's early September. I got into tech October 4th of 2021. And it wasn't until I had never had 10,000 in my bank account until probably about, I think that January, February. The first time I was making some money.
It seemed like a lot at first.
It seemed like a lot at first. Now I would panic if 20,000 in the account, I would panic. But that being said, I remember. So realistically, when I first moved to my spot in Atlanta, and it was the first time I had to make a payment that was, I think my rent was at my spot in Atlanta was $4,000. It was the first time I ever had to make a payment that was over $3,000. So I go to make the payment. I had more at that time. I probably had about 40,000, 50,000 in my account. I go to make the payment, and it's like, payment don't go through. So then I'm thinking, the bank thinks it's fraud. So I tell the bank, no, it's not fraud. And the bank says, no, but you can't make the payment. I'm like, what you mean?
That's what I'm saying.
What you talking about? I have the money in my account. And I'm thinking, what you mean? I'm like, the account, I got the money. I see, and they said, you have the money, but they said you have a spending limit. A spending limit on my money?
Yeah.
They were like, I was like, that was the first time I was introduced to that. And then I had to go through this whole protocol for them to say, okay, we can raise it. Okay, but we're just going to raise it just for today.
Yeah.
Just for today, it's my money. And then, of course, now it's at a point where I have a higher spending limit, and now I have but realizing that, so my question is, and I've heard horror stories of business owners where their bank will say, oh yeah, we're just not, no matter what discussion they have, the bank will say, nope, we're not going to give you access to that amount of money. And their business suffered because of it, or they had to wait a certain period. With the conversation we're having about blockchain and cryptocurrency, are you saying that it's something to where when a business owner or individual wants to access their money or currency, they can do that and no one's able to tell them no?
Yeah, I mean, that's the power of the blockchain. It's free. It's transparent. It's free, and there's no third party intermediary. So there's nobody to stop you from getting access to your money. Mm-hmm. Now, just like we were talking about, if you go to the bank today and you say, I want to take out $30,000, $40,000, they won't give it to you.
Yeah, no.
You have to fill out a form and come back later, and then they'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
If they feel like, it has to be approved, and on that form, you have to give them a reason.
Yeah.
Why you're taking out that much cash.
Yeah. When I remember the process I went through when I got my Aston I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, this, and it's things, and the reason for these conversations, y'all, is because, again, many of y'all either just got in tech or many of you are working to get in tech. And these are things you don't even know that you're going to have to deal with. So it's like, that's why it's important to learn about, hey, what's happening with crypto and blockchain, all these different things that we're discussing, because it might be something you want to look into, especially since, one, this is the way the world is shifting and turning over to. But two, this can help save you a lot of headaches and risk and things in the future, man. So thank you so much, man, for dropping gems on this, dude.
No, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. So we got a lot more to talk about. So with that, we talked about blockchain, but you did something pretty interesting with blockchain, where you were able to use blockchain to crowdsource COVID-19 solutions. How did you use blockchain to do that?
So this is another side project we had back in 2017 through our company Quant Index. Mm-hmm. It was a hiring platform in which we incentivized people to use blockchain to crowdsource employment.
Okay.
And so what this basically does, the problem it was at the time there was a lot of problems because of COVID and so that in employment, a lot of the recruiters were closed, and it was a lot of just disorganization in everything, if you remember. So what we did is we created a solution that like people just sitting at home, and especially people, they needed ways to make money. Mm-hmm. So let's say a job got put out into the marketplace, right? During COVID, let's say it was a software engineer, because we're talking about tech, right? Mm-hmm. So traditionally what happens is a recruiter would get that job and they would call up their contacts to see if they could find a place, somebody to place in that job. Mm-hmm. But the problem with that is that person's network is limited. Like they may go through LinkedIn, and maybe go to some contacts, some emails they have, and that's the end. They're at the end of their rope. Yeah. So we wanted to incentivize people who are just at home. Like, let's say, for example, like recruiters back in those days, they were making like $20,000, $30,000. That's what people don't understand. They make, you make 20. I didn't know this until I started working on it. They make $20,000, $30,000, sometimes a lot more for every engineer they place at a company.
Wait, you mean? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just recently found that out.
That's crazy. Yes, I didn't know that. I would have charged them back in the day.
Oh my gosh.
But so it goes to one recruiter. One person gets $30,000 for placing one software engineer for like a year. So we were like, that's a lot of money. So why don't we just take this money, and instead of giving it to one person, we give it to 100. Okay. So we give each person a little bit to reach out to their networks and see how many people. So once that one person gets hired, the person who actually brought the hire gets a larger share, but everybody who was involved gets a small share.
That's fire. Yeah. That is incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was when I saw that, as I was kind of looking through your information and everything, I was like, how did he do this? But
yeah, that's how we.
That is incredibly smart, because I recently met someone who in Miami, who's a guy. We're eventually going to have him on the podcast. His name is Chris. I haven't saved on my phone as Chris Staffing, because he does like contract staffing with companies. And the contracts that sometimes you can get for doing that is wild.
That's a tech career people need to go into.
It really is. It really is.
If you know the lingo and you know what, like you have to know like what skill sets are needed for different jobs. Once you figure that out, man, you can make a lot of money in tech recruiting.
Man, it's so many. I feel like there's like almost endless ways to get the bag today. It's honestly like.
And the thing about it, man, is a person, and this is actually, I'm giving somebody, you can actually start if it was me, and I could go back to, let's say, 15 years ago, when I was like in my 20s, I would start a tech recruiting firm. Because all you have to do, you just have to learn a particular skill set.
Yeah.
That's it. And then you have to get maybe 2 or 3 of your friends together and just go to tech, like Afro Tech or whatever. Make the connection.
Find talent. Oh my gosh.
Hey, we get black talent.
Yes.
That's it.
That's
and
it.
And then somebody else you meet, find a black engineer, you take his card. Give out your cards to the people that are searching and just go back home, build up databases.
Oh my gosh.
$20,000 a placement.
Tech is new, but we about to start doing that.
Tech is a new staff.
Tech is a new staff.
Yeah. It would be so easy to do. That's all. Yeah. That's literally all you would have to do.
Yeah.
Is go to every black, or either, it don't matter, any tech conference.
Yeah.
And just take cards, people who need them, and hand them out to people who need talent, and take cards, people who are talent.
That's so smart, because most of these events, first off, there's a limited amount of tech companies that can be there at those events that are sponsors. So then let's say it's a conference, and let's say there are 50 tech companies that are there. Let's say only 5 of the companies that are there are even hiring for the role that individual is trained in, versus you have a network of companies, maybe it's 1,000 companies. And then you go to individuals. No individual's gonna say, no, I don't want your help with being able to land a role. It's like, I'm literally at this conference to land a role.
Companies too, like you don't even have to go for the big ones. Go to like maybe 10, 15 employees. They need help too.
Oh,
so those opportunities are ridiculously big.
Yeah. Yo, he dropping some game right now.
Yeah, I'm about to give up the video game.
Oh yeah, for real. Yo, man, bro, love this so much, man. I feel like you're one of the guests where I feel like, man, we could talk for 10 hours and there's just game after game after game you can drop. One of the things that I want to talk about is something I saw you post recently. So recently you had posted about the 2024 Bitcoin halving is the biggest financial opportunity in our lifetime. So first off, what is the Bitcoin halving, and why is it the greatest opportunity for us?
So Bitcoin came into being around 2009, and a lot of people speculate that it was in response to the 2008 crash. Yeah. So what happened during that 2008 crash that was kind of notable was that they printed up, I think it was $800 billion, and they gave it to the banks to save the banks. Right. So a lot of people that started Bitcoin, nobody knows exactly who started it, but it's just assumed that he started in response to that. Like he was against just creating money out of thin air. Yeah. And he wanted money to be restricted and scarce. So Bitcoin was the base code that creates Bitcoin was created with that in mind. So there's only 21 million Bitcoins can ever be created. And most are already created. So what happens is that through Bitcoin mining, through the Bitcoin mining network, that's how Bitcoins come into being. So every 10 minutes before 2020, there was 12 and a half Bitcoins that came out. Okay. Every 10 minutes, 12 and a half. It would go to the miners, and the miners would either sell them or they'd keep them, right? So that's the flow of Bitcoins into the economy. Okay. So in May of 2020, that was cut in half. Right, because in the Bitcoin code, it says that roughly, it is based on block time, but it ends up happening every 4 years. Every 4 years, they're going to cut that supply in half. First it was 25, then it was 12 and a half. Then
so that's the halving.
It was 6 and a quarter now.
Okay.
So the next time that's going to, and then if you look at the chart in Bitcoin, you remember right around May of 2000, that was like right when the pandemic was starting. And all of a sudden, Bitcoin just shot up that year.
Yeah, it did. It went crazy.
That's because of the halving. It happens every time.
Oh, yeah. It was 2020. That's why so many Bitcoin millionaires were made.
And if you go back to the time it happened before, 6 months after it happened before, you go back to 6 months it happened after that. Wow. So like just think about something that we all understand, oil. So we woke up in the morning, they said they're going to cut the supply of oil by half tomorrow. The price of oil would skyrocket. It's simple supply and demand. It's one of the most predictable things in all of finance. Sheesh. And the next one is in March of 2024.
Oh my gosh. I remember, because I don't keep up. I'm not heavy when it comes to cryptocurrency. I'm on it enough to know First off, it's definitely the future. I know obviously they went through a lot of stuff the last couple of years, and I also know it's clearly the direction the future's going in. But one of the things that I'm familiar with is that I know that recently the SEC was putting. I know it wasn't Bitcoin.
With XRP?
It was XRP. They had them like basically on like I guess trial, or they were kind of reviewing it. Like where are they currently at with that?
They actually, like about 2 months ago, they deemed XRP not a security in certain cases. Yeah. And that's what the whole case was about. It was about if XRP, which is a cryptocurrency, is a security or not. Now, if it's not a security, they can almost do almost anything they want. Almost. There's still rules, but they can do it. If it's a security, they're under the SEC, which is the Security and Exchange Commission. So they have to abide by certain rules. They can't take certain investors. They have to do, a lot of regulations apply. Yeah. So that means that they broke a bunch of laws. If they're a security, well, you didn't follow any of these regulations, so that means that you broke laws. So now we can sue you. Some people may go to jail. Yeah. A lot of stuff can happen.
But it was deemed not a security.
But in most cases, it was deemed not a security. So that caused the spike of the price to go up a little bit.
I had a lot of friends earlier this year predicting that was going to happen. Yeah.
But the case is not over yet because the SEC, after that judgment was made, they want to appeal it. So that's some worry about that out there. And the whole case, that was just a small part of the case. The entire case is not over yet. So we're still waiting for that to happen. Yeah. But I believe that it's not going to be a security once it's all said and done. Yeah. The SEC is just, I always thought this case was just, it wasn't a solid case. Yeah. It's just them trying to get involved in stuff. I don't know, but I don't think they're going to win. Yeah. I think XRP is going to prevail.
Yeah. Yeah, most of my friends that are heavy with cryptocurrency all agree with you. They've all told me the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's a garbage case.
Yeah, and they've shared that once I guess the case is over, and if it goes in a direction that you're believing is going in and they believe is going in, they said that they believe there's going to be a flood to the cryptocurrency market.
There will be. Yeah. Almost guaranteed, especially because remember, that may coincide with that halving, which is on the horizon for March of 24. Mm-hmm. That's what I think is going to happen.
Oh, that'll be crazy.
XRP could go to $20, $30 if that happens. Oh, the XRP gets, if the lawsuit's over before then, and then the halving happens. Well, the halving happens in Bitcoin, but Bitcoin, whenever Bitcoin goes up, all the rest are going to go up. It's like last time, Mm-hmm. Every day it's another coin. This has been happening for 12 years. Yeah. Every 4 years, it's like you have an 18-month, what they call a hype cycle or bull market, and then it crashes, then it starts all over. It's been happening since Bitcoin was created because of that halving. It's hard coded, so every 4 years it cuts the supply, and then the market reacts to that cut. Yeah. And demand stays the same or goes up, and then it causes the price to rally. Yeah. It's been happening for 12 years. That's why I'm saying it's the biggest opportunity because it's predictable. Yeah. And it's right on the horizon.
Man, there's so much that I think, because I think about, when we talk about, tech, and tech in itself is such a broad term. It's like we have these conversations about tech, AI, all these things. And I feel like this is one of the first times, if not the first time in history, where everything is right in our face. And it's like there's almost, let me know what you think about this. It's almost no excuse for the people that kind of fall in their faces, or the people that are kind of caught with their pants down. It's almost no excuse that they have.
I believe it is, because if you go back to the 80s, 70s, and 60s, you had to get the information we have at our fingertips. Yeah. You had to take a trip to the library, talk to the librarian. She'd point you at the right book. Go to these big, I don't know if you remember the card catalogs. Yeah. Have to find it was so hard just to find something as simple as that a white elephant's native to Africa. Yeah. And that would take you all day.
God, dog, that's crazy.
Now it's just boom, boom. You got access to everything. Anything right there. And people are still ignorant, which I don't understand that. Man. That is, I don't really get that. But people still are ignorant to a lot of simple facts about life. Yeah. And all they have to do is look it up. So I agree with you. I just think there's really not a lot of excuses for not knowing some of this stuff, and it normally is the people you're hanging around. That's probably where it starts at.
That's very true.
Because it's always that thing is that it's a saying is that you don't know what you don't know. Yeah. Like if nobody's exposing you to new ideas, then you don't even know to look for a white elephant,
That's real. Yeah. And also I think that there's immense value, and I didn't truly realize this until, so we started Tech is the New Black, and then when I was talking about everything online, people were like, oh man, like people were willing to pay attention and listen because they were like, oh, because you look like me. And at first I thought people were tripping. I said, man, you should be able to listen and learn from anybody. But I had to stop in my tracks and I had to think back to a few years ago. I saw Robert Smith, who is he's a multi-billionaire. I believe he's the richest man in America. And I remember seeing him about 5 or 6 years ago at Bishop Bronner. Shouts out to Bishop Bronner and Word of Faith. He had him out speaking. And I remember at the time I was so broke. I was more broke than I even realized I was. And I remember watching him on stage and I felt this weird like tingling sensation through my body. And it wasn't anything that he said. It was just my mind being like, this black man is a billionaire. And this is before Jay-Z became a billionaire, before Kanye, before all of them. So it was such a shocking thing for me to experience. And even though it wasn't anything that he said, but I remember walking away and my mind, it felt like the limits were off. I was like, yo, like, I have no excuse.
Yeah.
I have no excuse at all. And so I think about that even with yourself, what you've been able to accomplish and do. And that's why I'm excited about this conversation, because as impactful as Tech is the New Black has been for a lot of people, I'm excited for just people hearing the things you shared and who you are and your unique story, your unique knowledge, and how this is going to take the lid and the limits off of so many people this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you said. You need to. Some people need to see somebody like them doing it. That's just. I mean, let me tell you one of the most profound moments in my life. Now, it may even sound stupid.
Yeah,
but it was like my father was Puerto Rican, but I didn't know him, so I'm half Hispanic. I'm all Hispanic, but just for this conversation, I'm half Hispanic. You can't be half Hispanic. Somebody said you either got to be all or not. That's an ethnicity.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so I'm black Hispanic, black Afro Latino. Yeah. But like when I went to study abroad to Mexico. And so I get on the plane in Nashville. It's all white people running the plane, pilots, whatever. And then I get to Texas, and I switch to I think it was Aeromexico. That's the plane.
Oh yeah, okay.
So I get on there, and it's the first. I'm from Tennessee, like 95%, 90% white, And I get on the plane, and there's 2 Mexican pilots. I've never seen that before, ever. And it was shocking to me.
Yeah.
It changed. Like then when I get on the plane, land in Mexico, and I see Hispanics running a whole country.
Yeah.
It sounds stupid. Now, remember, that was the first time I've been on a plane. I was 20 years old.
Oh, dang.
I've never been on a plane before then.
Yeah.
That to see them running their own country, I've never seen it on TV. That's
true.
It just changed everything. And I started saying, well, it was just a profound moment in my life to see people that wasn't like it was all white people in the U.S.
Yeah, true.
And all of a sudden, these minorities, they can run a whole country.
Yeah.
Then you start thinking, well, you could do anything. I could go back and do this, whatever. That was a very profound moment in my life. It sounds stupid.
Yep.
But it was.
I get what you're saying, because it wasn't that. If someone had told you that, you wouldn't have been like, oh, no, that's crazy.
It's
you would have been like, yeah, I know it. Yeah. But it's one thing to know something, but then to see it.
You got to see it.
That's real.
Yeah, and it was just weird, man. Like I was like, man, I knew it was possible, I never saw it.
Yeah.
And that was a profound moment in my life that changed me, like fundamentally, like profoundly, I should say.
I mean, bro, but that's where you are for a lot of people. A lot of people look at you and they're like, well, yeah, I mean, can a black man be a software engineer, which you've been at? Can a black man, be knowledgeable on these variety of different topics? Can a black man build a business, scale it, be able to sell it, still own stock in it, do all the different things? And it's like, so people look at you and it's like, they're like, yeah, I know it can exist, but to see it, you're that different. For a lot of people.
To see that is different than hearing about it. Man. And to see it in person is even, like you see it on TV, because we see the TV or any screen that you look at is like almost a barrier.
Yeah.
This is an imaginary world over there. So when you see it in person, like you with Robert Smith, it's completely different.
That's true.
It's like you could if you wanted to, you could touch this dude, man. That's
real.
So it's way different than like seeing it on TV or whatever.
Man. So in the midst of this, we talk about seeing something. You put up a post on social media where you were addressing saying, men, be the man that you needed growing up. I believe the state of the world, especially in certain first world countries, the state of the world right now, many things are in disarray. There's a lot of opportunity, but there are a lot of things that are in disarray. And I think one of the things that are heavily in disarray are the state of men right now. Like, one, what do you think of the state of men? And two, what do you think that men can do to start to like get things back on track?
The masculinity is under attack.
Definitely.
It's under attack. And I don't know what the underlying reason is, but it is. You know, it's like they want almost everybody to be the same, but that's not how the way the world works. If you go out into the animal kingdom, anywhere else, you see that there's a clear difference between men and women.
Yes.
It has to be that because that's what's in our makeup, right? And I've noticed in my life, growing up without a father, whenever there's a lack of masculinity, that's when all kind of evil comes in.
Man.
You know, you don't have a father. Like a lot of times, me and my brother were treated worse because there's no masculine father. And you even heard, like, I remember I was listening to like some child, like molesters, something like child abusers.
Yeah. And
one of the things they said, if I look in that household and I see a strong male figure, I won't go after those kids.
Heard about that.
You heard about that?
Yeah.
Because it's too much, you know, I don't want that man to like, you know, bother me. So I go after people with either no father or people with weak fathers.
Yeah.
That's who I go after. And a lot of them say that, consistent around, you know, child molesters. But that lack of masculinity causes this evil to fill the void or anything else to fill the void.
Yeah.
Because it has to be something in that hole that we're leaving.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying is that sometimes it's hard being a man. Sometimes when you're a masculine man in your household, you're going to be lonely.
Yeah.
You know, your kids may not like you because you have to be a father instead of a friend. You know, it's not easy to do that. And a lot of people just stray from it. And, you know, it's easier just to be not be masculine, just walk around like that than it is to be a man. Even in a work atmosphere, right? It's easy to be everybody's friend. It's hard to be the masculine leader.
That's true.
And you could be a female too. I'm not saying it's male or female. To be that masculine leader, you're going to be alone. Yeah. People really not going to like you, but the job gets done, and those people need that leadership and that masculinity. For you to just come out, I'm everybody's friend and all this stuff, and I'm nice. That causes problems.
That's real.
That causes serious problems in that whole relationship, whether it's work, at home, or any other place. So that's what I think that we all need to men need to step up and be men, even though it's hard.
It is,
and fill that void so that evil can't creep in.
Yeah. Man, I agree 100% with everything you said. I love it so much. There's so much value that I got from this conversation. Let us know how y'all feel about this. You know, ladies and men, we want to hear from everybody. Like, what do you feel the state of men are today? Do you agree with both Armando as well as myself that it's hard being men, it's hard being masculine. There's definitely an attack on masculinity, but also it's still necessary. It's still necessary to be masculine. It's still necessary for men, for all of us to step it up. Let us know. We definitely want to hear from y'all. Armando, man, we got to wrap up, but I definitely want you to leave the people with something that you want to share with them that's on your heart before we close out.
I would just say like tech changed my life, man. Like anybody that's thinking about a tech career, I'm telling you, it's almost no way you can go wrong. We talked about a way that you can get into tech with recruiting, and there's like countless other ways, man. You don't have to be a software engineer. You don't have to be a developer. It's tech. And I got a book called Strategic Millionaire. It's on Amazon, and I talk about this is that jobs in tech pay like 20 to 30% more than jobs out. Like if I'm an accountant, I could work for a tech company. I make 20 to 30% more than if I didn't work for a tech company. Yeah. So there's so many opportunities in tech, and tech does have the power to change people's lives.
Yeah.